And then after that, you won't have bad pin tension anymore, and then you don't have to worry about it. Hey guys, welcome back to Shop Foreman Garage. Today we are working on this 2024 Kia Seltos, and we're going to be replacing the wiring harness, the entire front wiring harness. Why are we replacing it? So this vehicle has come from another technician that, so let me start from the beginning. The customer brought the vehicle in and it had every single light on the dashboard on, every single one, and it had codes for lack of communication, control area network, every single module, everything pointing more towards the ABS HECU unit, and where it bounces different information between the ABS HECU, the airbag control unit, and the front radar and the rear radar, and those are the main ones that are shooting, you know, messages around and they can't get through because something's wrong. And the technician thought it was an HECU. He replaced the HECU, let the customer go. Customer came back, all the lights came on again. It's a very intermittent issue. So he did some calibrations, did some programming, let it go, came right back, all the lights come on again. And over multiple times is trying to repair this thing by doing calibrations and stuff after replacing HECU. Couldn't get it figured out. It's very intermittent, so they gave the vehicle to me. And of course, the very first time I drove it, I was able to duplicate it, but I only duplicated for a second. And you check the codes, and all the codes are in history. Lack of communication, nobody can communicate with anybody. It's a CCAN, the C control area network. That's where the malfunction is. I even had it, got it to the point where it was acting up. I could clear the codes and they would come right back. So, and pulling out all of the joint connectors for the control area networks, checking them, adjusting pin tensions, stabilizing the connectors and all that stuff, it would still happen every once in a while. So it got to a point where the customer, you know, before the vehicle even came to me, customers yelling lemon law, which I understand because the vehicle's been down for a long time for the same problem. As a matter of fact, contacted Kia, Techline contacted the field engineer to come out and look at it, and he had scheduled to come out and look at this vehicle. In the meantime, I'm still tearing it apart, trying to figure out what's going on, and getting back and forth with Techline. Eventually, the code's cleared, and it's like, oh great, it's not acting up anymore. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this issue. But there was another code that came up, and the code was for rear, or it's the gas tank, gas tank pressure sensor. It's an issue with a pressure sensor in the gas tank. It's a circuit failure or whatever, and it's like, this is a new code that wasn't even up before, has nothing to do with what we were looking at, but that code would not clear at all. It's like, it's a hard code right now. Techline said, go ahead and diagnose that. So I diagnosed it, and I found that there, between the gas tank there and all the way up to the fuse box, there was an open circuit. And I even had a video showing, so I could show Techline what was going on, where I didn't have the voltage, and I went ahead and I stuck a wire in between the fuse box here and where the last place that you can actually see that it's supposed to have a connection. So in other words, I just jumped the open circuit in the harness just to prove that it had an open circuit. Right now it's showing 5 volts. If you'll take pressure voltage, I have, this is EC11, that's pin 71. I have a wire hooked into, and this is EF11, pin 25. And I'm going to take this from that, plug it in right here. And now we're at 2.5 volts. Fuel tank pressure voltage. If I disconnect it, it goes back to 5 volts. Techline said, put a wiring harness in it. And of course the field engineer says, hey, since you're putting a wiring harness, I might as well not even show up. You know, because ain't no sense of me being there if you're replacing the harness. A lot of those control area networks go through this harness, so we're replacing the harness, and we'll see how that works out. You know, usually it's not fun. It's just not fun. Where's my wire cutters? I need to cut this thing open. All right, this harness goes way up in there. Okay, so it's gonna go in through the firewall. So we have a couple things inside there, inside the cab we needed to deal with. We also got the same thing back here. That's going in. This harness, of course, goes around this bracket. I don't know if you can see there's a bracket down there. That bracket has to come off. This harness comes all the way up here and it goes under the bumper and it has speed sensors and just everything. On this side, right here, it does the same thing. It goes up underneath the bumper. This is a speed sensor for the ABS traction control. So I'm gonna have to pull this front bumper off, which means I need to move the vehicle up, and I'm thinking that it would be easier to knock this out first. So I've got a bunch of wiring up in here, and it's not a whole lot. And then there's that grommet right there that goes through the firewall. So everything that this attaches to, I need to disconnect. Hopefully I don't have to pull the dashboard out, especially the ones on the other side there. I need to get that kick panel off and start taking that apart over there. But I think that it's going to be easier to do this firewall stuff first and then push the thing forward and pull the front bumper off and deal with this up here. I think with the front bumper off, it's going to be easier. I mean, you know, hopefully less hassle anyway. So let's get to it. Right here this is one of the worst areas that you're gonna have to deal with in this entire job. This harness has these little attachment things, right? And there's one attached right here I'm trying to get off, and there's more up there that I cannot even reach. And then on top of that, there's the grommet that goes out, and there's not much room between this AC unit and the firewall, or the dashboard and the firewall. There's not much room, and we got to get this big connector like this. It's got to fit through there, and I'll show you where it comes out or goes in or whatever. So I can even get the camera in there. Okay, there goes my light, so nobody can see what's going on. Right here, in between all this junk, that's where it comes out. We need to pop it out and try and figure out how to get some room in between this dashboard and the firewall, which is way back there, just so that we can pop this out. And we need to run a fish line, so when we do get it out, we run a fish line, and then we can hook that to the new harness and then pull the new harness back through. It's either that or take this entire dashboard out and this AC unit, because it's behind this AC unit behind the dashboard. So sometimes the best way is to loosen this stuff up on the AC unit, loosen a couple bolts for the dashboard, and try and pull the dashboard at least, you know, about that much more, you know, away from the wall. Pull this, you know, so that we can fit this. I mean, you know, it's got to fit. So this is what I'm going to be working on. what it looks like whenever you're trying to use a borescope to get this thing off. It is so hard you can't see in there because the borescope's sticking in there, and I'm trying to use this trim tool to get up in there and trying to figure out the angle of the trim tool. It is almost impossible. But this is how you have to do it, just to try and get this one clip out. Okay, now that I got this thing out right here, and this harness of course runs all the way down there. It goes underneath the brake booster, so I need to get all that out too, which I don't think is that big of a deal. There's a couple clips, kind of like the clip that we had to mess with us, this thing right here, stuck underneath there. So I got everything out that's going through the firewall. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this thing forward. It's in neutral. I'm going to run it up to about right there, and I am going to put it on the lift so I can get this front bumper off. I guess I have to take the whole front bumper off. I don't know. The wiring harness definitely goes underneath a bunch of stuff here, and it definitely goes up over the top of this wheel well assembly. It goes way back here where it connects to the ABS speed sensor, and it's the same way on this side. And I think it's just going to be easier, well, less hassle, to just take the bumper off instead of trying to reach my arms way in there and figure out what's going on. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on the lift and take off the front bumper, and let's see where it goes from there. Let's see what happens. Okay, here's where we're at. I got the harness out. It's completely out. Here it is on the floor. I got everything out here, all these grounds. There was a couple grounds, but down here the harness went underneath this, went underneath the AC unit there, underneath this bracket down here, and of course it came in through here, just like on the other side for the speed sensors. So here it is on the ground right here, and it's a pretty big mess. And you might ask, well, why don't you cut that? You know what? Well, why don't you cut it? You know, cut the harness while you're taking it out. That way you don't have to, you know, run it underneath all this stuff. You know, of course we're gonna have to run it underneath all that stuff to put the new one back. But that's true. A lot of times I just cut them. You know, I'll cut it like right over here, where it was over here, so I don't have to pull all that stuff underneath this. You know, and it's just easier to take out, but because of all the issues with the CAN control area network, lack of communication and all that stuff, it's any part that you take off of a vehicle that's under warranty goes back. You know, whether it's Mazda or Kia or whatever company you work for, the company, they're the ones paying for it. So they have the option to have us ship them the part, you know, so the parts have to sit around for like 3 months or something like that, while they decide if they want us to ship the part or whatever. So all warranty parts have to go back, no matter what. This one, there's a really good chance, you know, maybe they might want to get this harness back and inspect it and find out why it had that control area network communication error, which they couldn't do if I cut the harness. So because of that, and that's the only reason, I didn't cut the harness, which made it a little bit harder to get out, you know, back there and stuff. So now we're halfway there. Here's the new harness right here, and of course it's got the fuse box and everything too, so this is gonna fit like just like right there. Here it is. Okay, hang on, like that. Okay, start it up. Let's go. Get in it. Start it up, Fuzzy. No, don't start it up. It's okay. I don't know. Let's start putting this thing together. So if this harness can come down between this and pull it back, well then why can't this move back to come down? Just like that. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, why does it have to be such a pain? Why doesn't it just come down like that, you know, from the beginning? I mean, okay, moving on. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we got everything hooked all back up. And we got these connectors hooked up. Look at this. Look at all this dog hair. Yeah, it is everywhere throughout this entire vehicle. And the thing is, I have nothing against dogs. I like dogs, I like cats, you know, I like critters, you know, and I, you know, believe in, you know, live and let live, right? So obviously this customer they have a dog, and the dog lives in their vehicle, but I mean, at least try and keep it clean. This smell in here, it doesn't smell like a dirty dog, although honestly I'd rather take the dirty dog smell than whenever they try and cover up the scent with like the kids and pets and stuff. I cannot stand that stuff. It's been smelling up the entire shop, you know, as long as this vehicle's been here for like a week. So anyway, so look at this. We got this harness hooked up right here, and it was mainly this piece right here in the back, this piece right here that went in the front, and then there's a ground up there, and I got all the connectors, you know, connected back up, you know, except for that one, except for the one that we needed the borescope to get out. You know, I didn't hook that up, and I mean, come on, you know, seriously, it's not gonna matter. That thing's gonna sit up in there. What's gonna happen? You can't stick your foot up in there and mess with it. You know, you can't get anything up in there and mess with it, especially since I pushed the dashboard back in. And if anything, you know, the next person that comes along that has to take that off is gonna thank me. I guarantee it. It's just ridiculous, that thing in there. So I got all this harness up here, even going to the HECU, got that all put together. I still need to tighten that bracket down there. Got everything coming in here. Got the speed sensor hooked up way up in there. Got all these wires hooked up. So this side is pretty much done. Now I need to do this side. And this is the harness that goes inside the vehicle. So there's a lot more harness to this side. Of course, we got a lot more room. And this is the big grommet that goes through there. And one of these things, like, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, this one goes to this. And you see that grommet there? It goes up through here, comes out right there, and it attaches to the windshield wiper motor. There's a couple bolts that I loosened up for the dashboard so I could pull the dashboard back. I need to tighten those too. But it's just a matter of, you know, let's get this side done, and then, you know, we'll be done with this. Get this thing started, see if it still sets that code, because it was active all the time. Setting it all the time is an open circuit. So let's see what happens. Okay, I got this hooked up. I don't smell any smoke. I don't see any smoke. I don't smell any fires or anything. So we got this thing pretty much together. We got the whole harness in. There are a couple of different things. This goes to the headlight. This goes to the bumper right here, to this light here, and then it's the same way on the other side. The other side has the headlight in. We got this headlight out because we had to take this air box out to get these, if you can see that, yeah, those grounds right there. So let's start this thing up and see if it runs, and then check and see if, you know, it has that code. And that's the main thing. If the code's gone, then I can put all this stuff back together, which is gonna take a while to get all this stuff back together. This vehicle was completely tore apart before. I had this out. Great, what am I throwing around over there? the fuel tank pressure sensor is way up in there. It's way back there, and it comes to this connector here, and then it goes into this harness right here, which goes up in here, and it runs along here, and it goes all the way to right here. And then this is where the open circuit started, between here and that fuse box right there. So that's why we replaced this harness. Let's see, will it start? Yeah, I mean, it started right away. So there are a bunch of codes. Check tire pressure monitoring system. Lane departure, lane system. Okay. Let's see what this does. Let me get this hooked up in here. I know you can't see it. Let me get this hooked up. This is a brand new data link connector because it came with the harness. So, hello. Why can't I connect this up with one hand? Okay. Let me get this going and let's see what codes there are. All right, right here we have a bunch of active codes, and this is almost the same stuff as before. It's ABS, traction control system, CAN timeout, for various different things. For instance, this one right here, the thing just moved. Like this G sensor, yaw timeout, yaw G sensor. The yaw rate G sensor is inside the airbag control module, which is right down there, and it's plugged in. So this just means that the ABS system is not getting a reading from it. It's timed out. The controller network timed out. Maybe it did it because I had the harness apart. I don't know. It shows active. Let's delete this code. Let's delete them. Get them out of here. Get out of there. And by the way, this is a new KDS 2.0, and the thing it's just got a lot of bugs in it. It definitely does. I think that this thing still has some problem with the control area network, because it's going through all the codes they erase. You want to recheck them, yeah. And still looking over here, I still got a bunch of lights on the dash. These should all be gone. So, check trunk tailgate system. I've never seen that on there. But yeah, the trunk is definitely closed. We still got 5 ABS codes in here. CAN timeout. So active. Yeah, so that's, we got all these ABS, and we got airbag event cluster, airbag warning lamp, CAN message timeout. So the already G sensor, there's still definitely something going on with this, but replacing the harness was for another code. Let me see if I can find that code. Okay, this is just a snapshot, a screenshot that I took a while back, and you can see all these active codes. Wait, you can see all these active codes, right? And it's pretty much the same thing: ABS, ESC, motor-driven power steering, airbag, event, CAN timeout. But look at this one on the top. This is P0453. It's evaporative emission system pressure sensor switch, high input, and it would go pending, and then the next time you started the vehicle, it would go active. You cleared it, it would automatically go pending. It would never be deleted. You could not delete this code. You couldn't clear it. So going back over here to the KDS 2.0, that code is not here. So we fixed it. It's fixed. It doesn't have the pressure sensor code anymore, but it does still have these CAN timeouts, and this is the problem, and this is why the field engineer was coming out. I am going to contact Techline. I cannot do anything more to this vehicle. I'll probably put the front bumper on, and I do not believe that anything, let me look at this, I don't believe that anything on the front of this can cause that. Nope, nothing at all. There's no radar or anything that has come off with the bumper. So everything is in place, and it still has the issue, and I'm gonna have to contact Techline. I'm gonna have to talk to the field engineer and get him to come out and let him know, hey, we fixed the one problem that just showed up out of nowhere, but we didn't fix the main problem that the customer came in for. So that's back to the drawing board. All right, I have a little bitty update on this vehicle. I did end up finding the issue with the CAN communication, issue. I found the problem, and I actually did it before the field engineer came out. So the field engineer never came out, and I was able to fix it before then. Yes, that's what I like to do. I like to try and fix it so that he doesn't have anything to look at. What it was, and this is going to be kind of hard to explain. Probably you see a wiring schematic in front of you, and the problem was actually at that joint connector JF02. And if you disconnected the connectors on either side of that, I only got 29.2 mega ohms going in one way and 7.22 kilo ohms the other direction, and it should be 120 ohms. And unfortunately I didn't film this, but here's a picture of where it was. Yeah, it was actually above the headliner in the back of the vehicle, way in the back of the vehicle. Had to pull the headliner down, and that joint connector is right there. And what the field engineer said when I told him I found it and I showed him that picture, he said that he wants to replace the harness. So as you know, we just got through replacing the front harness in this thing, and so he wanted to replace the entire floor harness, which is the entire harness from the dashboard all the way back, entire back of the vehicle, and up through over the headliner, and it's just a big gigantic issue, or a big gigantic, it's a big job. It really is. It's a lot of stuff. I already pulled a lot of stuff apart on this vehicle, and I didn't want to take anything more apart. So I asked him, can I just repair it rather than replace the entire thing? And of course, it was up to our district parts and service manager, and he said, yeah, go ahead and repair it. And he's like, I trust you, go ahead and repair it. So that's what I did. Joint connectors on Kias, you have a bunch of connectors coming in on one side, a bunch of connectors coming in on the other side, and these are like all your high CAN and these are all your low CAN, and they get connected together inside that connector, but you get bad pin tensions and stuff like that. So what I did is I took all the pins out and I soldered all these together, and I soldered all those together, and that fixed it. And that was all it should be. I don't know why Kia does that. They put these joint connectors, and it's understandable. You got a bunch of modules that have to be able to communicate, so and somewhere in the harness they have to come together. And I mean, Mazda doesn't do it like that. They take the things and they solder them together, and they put a big thing over and they stick it in the harness, you know. But Kia's got to have these connectors so you can take them apart. Well, those are areas of fault. So that's what it was. We got it fixed before the field engineer even came out, so we're done. It's done. If y'all want to see me do a diagnostic on a control area network, run on down in the comments and let me know. It's painstaking to try and find this, you know, but it is really cool when you finally are able to get it to act up and you're able to try and trace it down. And it's tracing it down from connector to connector to connector to connector, trying to narrow down which harness in the you know, vast majority of harnesses that are in the vehicle, you know, where it is. So if you want to see me tackle something like that, let me know. Just run on down in the comments and let me know. And thanks for watching. So that's pretty much it for this video. You know, I just wanted to, you know, show you how how and what it takes to replace the front harness on this thing. It's a lot of fun. It really is. And especially, you know, back there, and yeah, just a bunch of good fun times. So thanks for sticking around. I appreciate the heck out of each and every one of you, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.